And we are back. We've still got half a pyramid left to explore, and we're going to start things off this time with the challenges intended for Will. You can tell that they're intended for Will because you need his powers to get through them. When I say powers, I mean the spin dash. There's actually no more need for the Psycho Dash or the Psycho Slide, but we're going to use a lot of the Psycho Slide anyways because the pyramid is uniquely adapted to make it extra vicious. In fact, the narrow corridors make all of Will's powers extra vicious, which, even if you didn't actually need him to do this room and the other room that you need him for, it makes him a great choice anyways, because he's just going to straight up murder everything. As you can see, with the Psycho Slide, we can even catch the shielded guards from the side without them attacking or lowering their shields. It's pretty brutal still. Of course, so is walking upstairs. Sometimes I get a little bad at that and walk into walls. Alright, so the only thing we haven't explored here yet is that one staircase down that I ignored in favor of jumping off cliffs. Normally, not the best plan, but when your goal is to kill everything in sight, sometimes you have to jump off a few cliffs. Another defense upgrade. Should be handy. Nothing invisible here. Moving on. You cannot Psycho Slide downstairs. That would be incredibly painful if it actually let you do it, or if you tried it in real life, so don't try this at home. Actually, don't try that at home either, even though it's way cooler. You have to wonder if the people who made this game actually played Sonic the Hedgehog. Because, I mean, really, that's basically what that is. That's Sonic, in a nutshell. Spin dash, still useful. Also screws up those shielded guards in a very real manner. It's like basically everything you do to the shield guards, except for hit them and try to slide at them from one tile above, will hit them. Well, maybe the Psycho Dash won't hit them. That's kind of annoying. You'd think that the Psycho Dash would miss the first time and hit the second time on the rebound, but in reality the hits are so close together that you're still clinging off of the thing for the first hit, and it's still invincible. Alright, that is 4 down. So we went into the first door. I wonder where this one is going to go. Oh wait, it's the least imaginative cipher ever. Now, this section I personally find to be the toughest in the entire pyramid. I like to refer to it as the capital of science, after Nightman's level in Mega Man 6. And you'll see why I refer to it as such shortly. There are 32 enemies in here. That is a lot of enemies. Oh god. So many. So many. Ugh. But can they fit more in a single corridor? Find out. And we got a nice ambush waiting for us. Plenty of mummies. Plenty of evil spirits. I'm just really glad that nothing terrible happens when they touch you. Thought for a second there that there was something invisible downstairs, but no. Yep, now that I take another glance at it, I'm not entirely convinced that the mummy's health bars actually mean anything. You probably could just, hit them once and they're Done. But then again, when you're doing 19 damage a hit, you know, can you really tell? Alright, all of that is cleared out. And yes, they do hide stuff in the slots that the mummies come out of. Just not that much stuff. What would actually be kind of neat is if when you are possessed by one of the spirits, it would work like in Mega Man X2 in Morph Moth's stage, with the things that hook onto your back and make you do strange things like attack constantly, or jump constantly, or slide constantly. That would be pretty entertaining, and a much better use of the evil spirits than having them do absolutely nothing. This is a particularly nasty ambush room. Now, while you can block the orange bolts, the blue bolts are a different story altogether. So once you do find one of the invisible enemies, you want to take him out fast before anything particularly unpleasant happens. Alright, so we got choices here again, but if we want to clear everybody out, down is the correct choice. And waiting for us are 4 invisible things and 4 laser balls. There's just a whole lot of unpleasantness down here. Was a whole lot of unpleasantness down here. You know what? We're not done yet. Oh no. There's still a treasure chest to be had, and plenty of enemies left to take out. So, we come to the Spike Crusher section. Now this is why I call it the capital of science. The distinguishing feature, at least for me, of Nightman's level in Mega Man 6, was the spiked ceiling. And in this game it causes me no end to troubles. It's kind of bizarre on whether or not it's going to hit you a lot of the time. In fact, I'm just getting hit all over the place right here. This is a very unpleasant part, and in some runs I may have been shot up to the point where I would have considered using an herb. Or died instead of considering using an herb. But all of that is done now. And before we continue on, we're definitely going to... Oh god, that's a lot of mummies. Now, what we discover from this is that the evil spirits don't actually count as enemies, only the mummies do. Which is very odd, I must say. Moving on, more spikes! And here is the Toth-looking hieroglyph. I'll give you one guess as to where in the sequence this one goes. Alright, with that in place, let's heal up. And turn into the correct character for the last challenge. Fred, of course, is the correct character for the last challenge, and he's about to show us why. That's right, it's his powers. His good powers, anyways. They completely annihilate everything in this entire dungeon. Everything always groups up, so you can just charge up, run in, and let off the aura barrier, or stand just outside, and throw in a dark friar, burn everything to the ground, destroy everything in one hit. It is just complete annihilation, and I love it. Fred does not have to take any shit from anybody. Except about the Earthquaker, which is a completely garbage ability that he should feel bad for even having. Interestingly enough, if you could actually use Fred for any of the other sections of the dungeon, you could actually play the Earthquaker ability. However, you can't. So it remains just as garbage as it was before. Unfortunately, he tends to have a little bit of trouble with these guys. And with that, we pick up the final HP power-up in the entire game. We are at full health, which is 40. And we'll pick up the final one of... These guys just don't stand a chance against Fred. They really, really don't. It would be kind of sad if it wasn't hilarious. That's another mummy slot that we can go down. But instead, let's go kill this guy. And that invisible guy. Alrighty. That was the last defense power-up in the game, which makes the strength power-up we got in Will's last thing the last strength power-up in the game, and so we are at full power. And we've picked up the last hieroglyph stone, so we're ready to finish the dungeon. But first, just in case, I'm going to heal up, save up, and transform back into Will for the following important cutscene that the game is going to transform me back into Will for anyways. What? Well, what exciting secret awaits us when we place the final tile in the wall? The suspense is killing me. Uh-oh. Who could that be? Yeah, he's pretty evil. I have serious reservations about this idea. However, it's that or get taken hostage by a guy with a mohawk, so... Oh god! Why am I on fire? Wait, I'm not on fire. He's on fire. Hang on. I was just in the fire and... I gotta say, in terms of Super Nintendo games, I think that's a very good candidate for the most grisly death in Super Nintendo. Alright, so I've switched back to Shadow for the boss. Probably should have picked Fred, but I actually wanted to show off the Liquefy dodge, and I can't do that unless I use Shadow to fight. I do kind of wish that the Jackal was actually the boss fight, and he somehow got a hold of, you know, Gaia's power to turn into evil Shadow. But instead we get the Mummy Queen. When you hit the Mummy Queen, she explodes into a bunch of those evil spirits that will harm you. When she reforms, she fires energy bolts that are slightly homing but not really, and also tries to drop a bunch of bricks on your head. These are when it's useful to have the aura equipped. The hits from the blocks only take about a second, which is about the amount of dodge time you get out of liquefying. And thus, if one's about to hit you and there's nothing else you can do, just mash B and hope that you liquefy in time to dodge it. Taking off a third of her health turns her green. Green is generally not a color that you want to be. It's not very easy, or so I'm told. And I mentioned that this boss isn't particularly difficult. It's only tricky if you want to get through it completely unharmed, because you have to master use of the teleporters to... Oh, hey, she's got a jackal head now. It would still be cooler if you fought the Jackal. But anyways, teleport mastery. That is the key to not being hit. Although now that I see the gap up there that you jump off of, I wonder if the Earthquaker has any practical value here. And there you saw the Liquefy dodge. Now that she's low on health, whenever you hit the Mummy Queen, she'll split into the spirits as usual, but they will all flicker except for one. Now sadly, it doesn't show in the video very well, but 7 out of them are supposed to be flickering, like ghosts. The 8th one is supposed to be solid, like normal, and you're supposed to pick out the one that's normal and then hit it to make her reform. Kind of like the last of the Poe sisters in the Forest Temple in Ocarina of Time. Fortunately, that didn't translate very well, and she's dead. Not gonna see her again. Or are we? And we have the 5th Mystic Statue. Pretty heavy stuff, but you heard the man. Alright, let's go and trust Neil with our lives again.